truth about moving after selling in Richmond, timing, storage, and where to go next. Here's the truth. Moving after you sell your home in Richmond is one of the most stressful parts of the entire process. Not the showings, not the negotiation, not even the inspection phase. It's the moment you realize you have to be out of your home by a certain date. Your next place isn't ready yet, and you're staring at your belongings wondering why you own 17 mixing bowls. Today, I'm breaking down how to make your move smooth, predictable, and even a little easier on your sanity. We're talking timing, temporary options, storage, and what to do when there's a gap between selling one home and getting the keys to the next. Let's start with the question sellers ask me first. When should you actually start preparing for your move? The answer is simple. Earlier than you think. Most people wait until the home is under contract. That's too late. The moment you decide you're selling, your preparation should begin. Even if you don't touch a single box, you can start with decisions. What are you taking? What needs to be donated? What should be tossed? The earlier you decide, the easier everything else becomes. And I had a seller in Midlothian who started packing after we went under contract. And by the time the buyers requested their walkthrough, the house looked like a tornado had taken a personal interest in their garage. Now, we made it work, but it added stress that they didn't need. The moral is simple. Declutter early, pack slowly, and thank yourself later. Now let's talk about timing, because this is where sellers get the most confused. In Richmond, sellers often sign their closing paperwork several days before the buyer signs. That means you handle your part early. The buyer finishes theirs, and once their loan funds and the deed records, you're officially closed. But here's the key. You usually have to be out of the home before their closing date or on the day of closing, depending on what you negotiated. So what do you do if your next home isn't ready yet? This is where we talk about the three main options. You move directly to the next place, you negotiate temporary possession, or you use a short-term rental or storage solution to bridge the gap. Let's start with the cleanest scenario. You buy your next home first and move straight in. It's beautiful, it's seamless, and it's also the least common. Not because it's impossible, and we do this all the time, but because you need to qualify for the new home while still owning the old one. That's where a great lender comes in. Some sellers can carry two homes temporarily. Others can't. That's why we look at the numbers early, so you know your options before you ever hit the market. Next scenario, and the most common, you sell your home first and then buy. This is where timing becomes everything. The best strategy is to go under contract on your current home and then immediately start writing offers on your next one using a home sale contingency or more flexible home under contract contingency. The good news is buyers have leverage again at the end of 2025 going into 26, so these aren't the deal killers they used to be. Sellers are open to contingencies that give you time to line things up. Now let's talk about a strategy that most sellers don't even know is possible, but it can be a lifesaver. Temporary possession after closing. In simple terms, you close on your current home, you get your proceeds, and then you stay in the home for a few days, sometimes up to a couple weeks, while the buyer takes ownership but doesn't move in yet. It's called a post-occupancy agreement, and when it's structured correctly, it's a win for both sides. You get breathing room, the buyer gets certainty, and everyone avoids panic moving. And I once had a seller tell me, this post-occupancy thing is amazing. It's like selling my house and getting it to rent for myself. Well, that's exactly what it feels like, with fewer legal implications, of course. If this is helpful so far and you want more no-fluff tips on selling smarter in Richmond, hit subscribe right now. I post new videos every week designed to save sellers time, money, and stress. Now let's say none of your timeline lines up perfectly, and there's going to be a gap between selling your current home and moving into the next one. That's where short-term options come in. Here are the three that work best in Richmond. Option 1, short-term apartments. Many complexes in the area offer 3-month or month-to-month leases. It's not glamorous, but it's easy and predictable. and it gives you the freedom to buy your next home without rushing into the wrong one. Now, option 2, extended stay hotels. Not ideal for more than a couple weeks, but incredibly convenient for quick transitions. And for someone who doesn't want to unpack a whole apartment for 30 days, this is actually a great option. Now, option 3, staying with friends or family. Now, this one is either the best idea or the worst idea, depending on your family dynamic. I recommend it only if everyone still wants to speak to each other afterwards. Now, let's talk about storage. Because no matter how your timing works out, storage is usually part of the equation. Now in Richmond, you've got 3 solid options. First, traditional storage units. Inexpensive, predictable, and available pretty much anywhere. Second, portable on-site storage containers. These are great because they're dropped at your door, you load them at your pace, and then they get taken away and stored for you until you're ready. And third, full-service movers who pack, store, and deliver everything on the other end. If you're moving twice, into temporary housing first, then into your new home, a container or full-service mover is usually the least stressful. You only pack once, and packing once is always better than packing twice, unless you enjoy chaos, which most sellers do not. So now let's talk about something that scares sellers more than moving itself. The fear of being between homes. Almost every seller worries about this, but the truth is, with the right plan, you will not end up floating between spaces with no idea where to go. This is exactly what the planning process is for. We map out your timeline early, your listing date, your target contract date, your ideal closing date, and your move-out date. And we line up your next step before anything feels uncertain. When you know the plan before buyers ever walk through the door, the fear goes away. Now let's recap. Moving after selling doesn't have to be chaos. Start early, declutter before you list, understand your closing timeline, know your options for temporary housing, pick the right storage strategy, and most importantly, build your plan before you need it. When everything is mapped out in advance, you move with confidence instead of worry. If you're thinking about selling and want help planning the move from start to finish, let's talk. I'll walk you through your exact timeline, your options, and the best path for your situation, so you can move smoothly without losing your sanity. And don't miss next week's video, the secret strategy behind pricing your home in Richmond and why it works better than testing the market. That one will change how you think about pricing forever. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it. And in the comments, tell me, what's the hardest part of moving for you? Packing, timing, or figuring out where all the random cords in your junk drawer actually belong? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.